Hello, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
Woo! This is episode 2 of season 10 of Walking Dead.
Welcome
Uh,
to our spoiling dead.
yep. This one's called We Are the End of the World, and this one focused exclusively on the Whisperers.
Yes.
And
Mainly Alpha and Beta
yeah,
and how they came to find each other.
yep. So this thing splits back and forth between two narratives, both Alpha and Beta, 7 years ago. Towards the beginning of the apocalypse, a few months into it.
Yeah.
But after everybody had kind of started to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that from 7 years ago, and then you've got the other running story current in the time leading up to the
Fire.
end of episode 1. Yeah. And so this basically, last episode was how the survivors spent those couple of days. This episode is how the Whisperers spent those couple of days, with some backstory spliced in between. And
which was done really well.
The pacing of this episode was perfect.
Yeah.
It started out, it was just go, 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 go. And then it got even more intense in the last 10 minutes or so. And, this episode was just so busy. And it basically shows a lot of Alpha and Beta's conflict. Alpha still has those motherly instincts.
Yeah, despite how she treated Lydia, like abusing her and whatever, she still loves her child and misses her.
Yep, and almost tries to replace her.
That's exactly what she did. She did. Beta called her out on it. What it was, she had a set of sisters who were good at luring out the dead.
Yep.
And finding them. And one of those sisters is the baby that started this whole thing with them. She had the baby.
Yep.
And she had to give the baby up because the baby wasn't quiet. Wasn't a quiet baby.
Yep.
And, that's a lot for someone to give up their child. Especially when you don't want to. And so she was suffering.
Here's okay. We're gonna kind of go into uncomfortable territory here. Mm-hmm. Joe, knowing what I know about the comic books, and I don't recall this being addressed in earlier episodes, mm-hmm. But what was in the comic books, and I'm kind of getting the idea that it's similar here, and I've discussed it in past episodes, but again, it's been 2 years. The Whispers in the comics had a social system to where they didn't have spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends.
Yes.
Just basically you hooked up, mated with whoever.
Yes.
And it's like some people, especially the women, might not have been 100% down with that, but they went with it for the good of the group.
Right.
And there was a big thing between, in the comic books, Carl's still alive, and he had kind of a romance thing going with Lydia.
Right.
And she told him that there were a lot of men in that group that, for lack of a better description, had raped her on several occasions.
Yeah.
And that was one of Carl's big things. We can't let her go back. That, mm-hmm. I'm kind of getting the idea that that's the case in this world too.
Yeah.
Because that girl was very much young. Like, mm-hmm. Probably nowhere near adult age. Like, probably 14, 15. She was younger than Lydia. You could tell. And I give Lydia credit for probably being 17, 18-ish. But I'm kind of getting that kind of uneasy vibe that, like, they're not saying it outright in the episodes.
Right.
Because they can't go that far, but I'm getting the same weird vibes that kind of stuff is going on behind the scenes, and they're hinting at it, but they're not saying it outright. So
maybe, I don't know. Like,
that adds to it on a whole other, like, how screwed up this group is. But at the same time, society, honest to God, a case could be made if you wanted to sit down and put it on paper. The world has gone to shit, and if somebody sat down and explained it enough, like, they could almost make a point for doing it the Whisperer's way, or they could make it a point for doing it the Savior's way, or they could make it a point for doing it, Alexandria's way, and it's just, I don't know. It's kind of like looking at other countries that have vastly different belief systems than us. Kind of like some of those episodes of The Orville, where a planet has done it this way for, 10,000 years. And then we pop up with our democracy and our human sensibilities. And who's to say who's right or wrong in that situation? But because there's a lot of people at this point in the apocalypse. There's people who are growing up who have known not known anything other than a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's some creepy stuff, but yeah, like the Whisperers just are on a whole other level that it's kind of hard to grasp what's going on there.
I think Alpha, before the world went to shit, had already lost her shit.
Oh, yeah, she was...
Like, there's no way that just the world going to shit broke her psyche like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a thing. Just, I don't know.
I mean, remember, at one point, Rick lost it. Mm-hmm. So I mean,
he did.
That shows that the best people are still human, and
even the worst, but it also, even the worst people are still human. Yeah. And we see that this episode when she has made a memorial for Lydia at the old campsite.
Yeah.
And that was actually my favorite part of this entire episode, because for the first time we saw the human in Alpha.
And that's where she's been going, and they talk about her disappearing at night.
He's like, I know you've been leaving at night, and he's, oh no, I'm here. And that's where she's been going.
She has been everywhere but there.
She even kept the rabbit
from 7 years earlier
that Lydia had gave up. Which
was some amazing storytelling on their part. To show that at the beginning. And then to show that
Lydia just wanted... She was a child and she wanted to please her mother.
Yep.
And, she knew her mother wanted her to, be strong. And, her mom's trying to teach her to walk with the zombies and this, that, and this. And she says, I don't need this anymore. I don't want it.
There were some...
And even right then when she said that, even though Alpha wanted her to be strong and be like her,
she didn't want her to grow up too fast.
She didn't want her to give that rabbit up.
And she still held on to that. She held on to Lydia's childhood harder than Lydia did.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which is really fucked up if you think about it. God, that's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to your child and then still want them to be a child?
There's just something going on in there.
Yeah. She's a fucked up individual.
We didn't see the survivors at all. What about the freaking sister getting the zombies to take her younger sister out because she was being weak and she was trying to curry favor with Alpha?
Well, and she'd already said she'd wished she'd left her behind, which goes to show she's felt like she's been dragging her down before they probably got with them, and then on top of that, you're right. She just wanted to please Alpha.
You know who? You know who the older sister reminds me of? Those two sisters. They remind me of the two sisters that were with Carol and God. What was the dude's name?
You mean at the beginning?
Towards the beginning, like back in like season 4.
Okay.
Where her and the dude had the two little girls, and the older sister killed the younger sister.
Look at the flowers.
Yeah.
I don't remember their names, but yeah. That was
very similar.
Yeah.
And like
because people and children deal with things in different ways, especially if they probably already have a mental problem.
Yeah. And here's, like, the apocalypse now. Like, if you do have problems like that, you're now in a world with no doctors, no medication. You're out there just kind of doing your thing.
Yeah.
And if you look, in hindsight, how people handled this pandemic, which, compared to the zombie apocalypse, is just a mild inconvenience.
Right.
But to us, first world problems.
Right.
But if you look at that,
well, it's not even first world problems. Okay, let's back up a minute here. We live in a country where the mental health system is shit.
Yeah.
And so people aren't already getting proper care, so you add something like a pandemic to where some people can't leave their house and can't see family, can't see friends.
Programs are being cut on top of what they already were.
And, you can't see your therapist in person, but you can do it over the phone. And for some people, that don't work.
Yeah.
That don't work. They need that face-to-face interaction. But it is an example of how some people act the way they act in the apocalypse.
This episode was just... This episode was powerful in a way that we haven't seen on The Walking Dead in a very long time, if ever. We might have seen some hardcore stuff like this, in the earlier, It's
been a while, though.
Yeah, on and off.
It's been a while since it's really spoke about society, really.
Yeah, and this is like some of the heaviest hitting, most emotional stuff since probably the early Negan episodes.
I would agree with that.
2 or 3 years at the most, or at the least, and it was neat to see. Whenever I saw the origins of Alpha and Beta, I thought that we were going to see like what they were like before the apocalypse.
No, it's when they
and
met.
So this is like how they became who they are. So okay, so I was a little bit let down on that because I was hoping to see.
Yeah, I wanted to see a little background. And because they just gave us a taste, really.
And I do like just. No spoilers or anything, but right. I do know that we're gonna see some pre-apocalypse background on at least Beta.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Do you think those were his parents he was hiding in there?
I don't know who that was, but I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah. Because he was, you could tell he was close to them.
He had some attachment there.
And he took off their face.
Yeah.
In the pictures.
He took the face and
then he literally took the face. He didn't want to leave that body. He didn't want to leave that zombie.
Yeah.
And he took the face and the shirt.
Yep.
So.
And that was he wore the same face for 7 years. That's just like I figure
it's fucking creepy.
I figure at a point like it wouldn't even stink anymore. It would just be like leather or something.
Maybe.
I mean,
Maybe it finally dried out and lost its scent.
yeah. I'm just like it's on. Here's the thing: whenever they leave and go do, back during like seasons 5 or 6, when they would go off and do their own thing for a little bit, and we'd leave the survivors.
Mm-hmm.
I used to hate that because I'd be like, "Come on, let's get back to the story." But
Mm-hmm.
no, this right here, this is one I like this episode better than last. Like, if not on the same level,
Yeah.
I'm not ready to
It's
give
a
it an
different
11.
vibe. Yeah.
But
It's a totally different vibe.
I'm more than willing to give this episode a 10.
I'm definitely going to give it a 10.
Yeah, and you know how crazy that is to get 2 10s in a row on here? You
Right.
know, like used to,
Yeah,
we were
that's
talking
true.
like,
Usually it's like a 10, 9, 9.
season
8,
season 8
you know.
was like, 6s and 7s.
7, yeah.
Like I think we may have even had a couple under 5 because they were just, so I don't know, but this episode was fantastic. I like the storytelling. I like the pacing. Never once got bored with this one. It was just fun to watch.
It was good.
And it was neat to see some of the background and to kind of dig in a little bit and see what Alpha and Beta are all about. And you see, it didn't take a whole lot for her to convince him, hey, roll with me on this.
Yeah, you're like me. Da, da, da.
He's loyal, and I'm sure he remembers her giving him a chance.
Right.
And
he connected with
yeah,
her.
he's just loyal to her.
He connected with her, and there's no feelings there. However, I think there's feelings between him and that sister.
What?
Did you not pick up on that? They casually talked. Like he doesn't talk to anyone else like that except Alpha. And that's rare.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to almost go back and
themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just knocked over that pointer?
He did. He wanted that laser pointer so bad that he hopped up here on the armrest and knocked it over.
You look like looking around.
You have the zoomies. Tell me you don't have the zoomies again, Zero.
He's like, put me down.
I'm trying to get him in the camera.
Let me go, he said.
Baby.
So funny.
But yeah, so what, do you agree with my 10 assessment?
Yeah, I'm a 10 too.
Awesome. Next episode is called Ghosts.
See the ghost of the little boy.
It's called...
And the window right there.
The synopsis says, the threat of their whispers return leads to paranoia sweeping over Alexandria. In the meantime, Carol battles with the need for revenge.
Uh-huh.
That sounds fantastic. I cannot wait.
I fucking love Carol.
Yeah.
She is absolutely, if not my favorite, one of my favorite characters is Carol.
She has had more character development than anybody in the show.
Yeah.
Maybe Daryl. Daryl still has that gruff exterior, but Daryl has opened up and has become a team player. And
he opened up last episode.
Yeah, but Carol, my God, if you were to go back and look at Carol, first episode or second episode compared to now,
God,
she was just weak, timid Carol, that had the abusive husband and, was just the housewife who didn't want to ruffle any feathers. And now to see her.
And now she literally is Billy Badass. She looked Alpha right in the face and was like, fuck you, bring it on.
Yeah. Season 1 Carol would not have done that.
No.
She would have went running back to the group. Alpha!
She would have never left the group.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
She wouldn't. No. She wouldn't even left the group. She would have been by herself.
Yeah, that's exactly.
She would have been out in them woods helping the fire. She'd been washing clothes somewhere.
Yeah, she'd have been on the river, beating clothes against a rock. God, that's a good point, though.
Let's wrap this.
So one more little
okay.
thing, and I just want to throw out an observation or a thought, and that's the fact that one of the best plot developments or details or whatever you want to call it in the series was when she gave the explanation for her hair.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she has long hair now because she feels safe enough to do so
Mm-hmm.
is just that's
such a defining characteristic and
yeah
such a true statement of somebody that overcomes something.
yeah. So you feel really
Because
good for her.
that's the reason she kept it short. He pulled her by the hair of the head.
Yeah.
And if she kept it short, he couldn't do that.
Jesus.
Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
I just
But anyway, okay.
Yep.
It's alright.
All right. Well, anyway, that's gonna be it. We'll be back again for episode 3. Can't wait. Like, I forgot how much fun this show is. I really did.
Me too.
Having such a good time. So, anyway, we will see y'all next time. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
We're Untitled Nerd Network. We'll see y'all next for episode 3, Ghosts.